Guys, Eric Sheets Saber and my man Jake Rohde. We are getting news breaking in just as we're going on. I don't think it's all that surprising that Dalvin Cook is out. I thought maybe he'd play in a limited capacity to get some lower ownership on Madison. But we don't have that. So we have Madison now is going to be the chalk value. Guys, how you doing this morning? I'll start with you, Rohde, and then we'll turn it over to Sheets. What's your overall outlook on the slate? We talked a lot, on our picks show, but some things have changed since then. Where do you stand now?
Yeah, I mean, things changed a little bit. I still think it's going to be spread out a little bit. I mean, the Madison news now is kind of big. We're going to be looking at. I'm pretty condensed on my quarterback usage. I think I've tightened it up a little bit, but I still like some of the quarterbacks we called out in the stacks and the picks player show.
Yeah, it's How about you? Sheets? What's your overall outlook on the slate?
So when I did my runs today, there were a couple of guys that were popping as giving me so much of them that I had to manually kind of adjust them downwards. So I'm going to show you who those were, just so you guys know. When I was crunching all my stuff, I was getting literally 100% DJ Moore for openers. Another thing I was getting was just an insane amount of Davante Adams. Now, neither of those things are particularly surprising, that being good plays, but for me to get so much of them, and I'm playing a decent amount of lineups. I'm playing like 40 lineups in the DraftKings Million Maker. I'm playing a full 150 on FanDuel, and my usual 20 on Yahoo. So that was the first thing I did. I just can't get that much of a high price wide receiver. I just don't think that's theoretically sound in big GPPs. So I had to move those down a little bit. And then, like you said, I'm gonna just have to rebuild everything with this Cook Madison thing. I have to see where Madison falls in along the lines of the Leonard Fournettes and Damian Williams, and these types of plays. I got to see where Madison kind of rates kind of among there. So my initial builds were pretty spread out. I didn't really have more than 30% of much of anybody, honestly. Which means that I'm probably overweight on some of the really low owned guys, which certainly makes some sense. That's my overall take on the slate. What about you, Rohde?
I mean, yeah, I'm luckily weighted to build all my lineups for this Madison news and all these other things, like my big builds like that. I'm definitely going to be underweight on like DJ Moore, like you talked about, and some of these guys that are popping. I think it's definitely good to get different and find those pieces that we talked about to get different in the slate today. So,
yeah, I hear you guys. I haven't gotten into much of the Moore and I think I'm going to have to build a stack after we get off, but I do think that I have some interest in the Moore and Darnold thing. I think if you're going to play, like, if you're going to be heavy on Moore, you should probably have some interest in Darnold personally. Like, I mean, the guy leads the league in rushing touchdowns. I just think that it's just something I would try and get some exposure to. How about as far as game stacks go, starting with you, Sheets, and then jump over to Rohde? What are you looking at in terms of the games you're most likely stacking? Because I know you just popped through a few things, but there's some games we talked about beforehand, both of us, that we haven't really talked about yet. So tell me about who you're looking at stacking up.
It's the same two games that I alluded to before: Green Bay, Cincinnati, and New York, Dallas. Like those are the two games that I'm game stacking, so to speak. I mean, of my 40 lineups on DraftKings, like a full 13, 12 to 13 of them are Green Bay, Cincinnati, and 12 to 13 of them are New York and Dallas. Now I have like other teams in there, but those really, I mean, like I have some Minnesota, which now actually seems even, I don't want to say more viable, but they were always pretty viable. But that's really where my stacks and are coming from. Now, none of that's particularly earth shattering, I have to say. But that's where I am on DraftKings.
Yeah, I hear you. How about you, Rohde? Because there's a game we talked about before, and not so much the San Francisco side, but I feel like the Arizona side, with both Murray and Hopkins, are just drastically underowned. And I feel like there's other spots in that game. I'm happy to play. Run it right back with Ayuk again. He's going to have some big days. He's going to have some nothing days. I'm happy with his price at 4,500. I really like that game. What about you, Rohde, in terms of who you're stacking?
Yeah, I like that game as well. I like big fan of Murray today. Got him. I got Hopkins a little bit in there too. I do like Ayuk, as you said that he's my guy. Robbie Anderson's my guy. Those guys I'm going to live or die with. I think this week instead of playing the higher up guys. Get a little different with those guys. I like that Minnesota game. I think people like the Kirk Cousins, Jefferson, Thielen stack a little bit. Now you got Madison to throw in the mix. If everyone goes to him, I still think those pass catchers will be, under-owned big time now. So, you can load up on a stack like that, even get different and take advantage of the Detroit bad defense.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. I mean, I'm looking at my ownership right now. It's a little more spread out at quarterback than I like to be generally for even my bigger buy and stuff. I know in like the longer shots, I think it makes sense to spread it out a little bit. But I mean, I had 15% Rodgers, 10% Burrows, 15% Cousins, 15% Murray, 20% Dak, and then the rest is Herbert. It's a little more spread out than I normally would go, but that's sort of the route that I'm taking. Sheets, how about I think by the time you run your projections, you're going to see that Madison is going to stand out as by far the most obvious play. I think you're talking about like in higher buy and stuff. I think you're looking at like 50+% ownership. I might be crazy. But I can't see how he doesn't end up in that range, right? And Rody, actually, I want your thoughts on that real quick before I jump over to Sheets. But Madison is going to be 50+% owned, right?
Yeah, man, I think so. At his price, he looked really good last time Cook was out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to have a lot of work to change over a lot of lineups to get these builds built, but I might kind of take a 50-50 approach with him. I might get to 50% with him. I think that's I think he's going to be high owned.
Yeah, I'll have him more than that. I mean, it makes Fournette, you either play them together, in my opinion, or you don't. I just don't think Fournette is a better play in Madison in any world anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you can't argue it, really, in my opinion. Maybe it works out his way, but personally, I think you play those two guys together or you don't play them. Sheets, what are you doing at running back, and what are your thoughts? Like, I mean, I know you said you have to run your numbers with Madison, but like, who else are you playing over there? Because I still have 70% Derrick Henry. I'm gonna just completely live and die on this hill. I have no problem just overloading Derrick Henry. I don't care.
Yeah, I have on DraftKings. I have a decent amount of Henry, but I'm just with the field actually on him. I guess where I'm over, is James Robinson. I have just kind of like probably too much of him. And I'm kind of happy about the Madison thing because I did have too much of Fournette. So I agree with you that, all else being equal, that Madison is probably a better play than Fournette.
Yeah.
The other running back I'm getting like 25% of goes along with an idea you just kind of came up with. The whatchamacallit was the is the Minnesota game. So first of all, I heard that I got to look at this, but like if you're going to play the Minnesota pass catchers, I mean, I have like 25% of Swift from the Detroit side.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and the other thing I heard, I got to check this, but is Hawkinson questionable, like legit questionable?
Yeah, we don't have the official word on what his deal is. I'm just going to ride, assuming that he's going to play. Assuming that he does play, I think he's a phenomenal play in my opinion. No one's gonna. I don't think people are going there.
So to finish up the running back position, since you asked, I mean, I do have a decent amount. Well, not. I mean, I have 15%. That's something of the Bears guy of Williams with Montgomery out, and Najee Harris. I'm kind of with the field on him, but I have like 20% of that. I don't know if that's considered with the field or not, but that's where I am now. But again, all of this is speculation. All this is pre Madison. I have to see where my running back exposure goes once I run this. Honestly.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Rody? What are we looking at running back outside of the guys we mentioned?
Ooh, I like the James Robinson play that you guys just talked about. I'm a little bit on him. I know everyone's going to be on Henry. I'm probably going to be a little lower on him. I know you like him. Zeke Elliott's another guy that's coming to mind that I like in that game. I'm not stacking the Dak game as much, but I like Zeke. I've been on Zeke all year. I do get a little bit of Najee. I think he's going to be a fine play. I do like him. I know you guys weren't on that. I think he's going to be good. I like a secondary correlation of Josh Jacobs and Allen Robinson in that game. I know people won't play that. I'm trying to get a little different in my chalkier builds. I think those are two guys you do a secondary correlation.
I like that a lot, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm very into that. I'm just starting to look through my lineups here, and I really do think I need to. I actually think I need more Madison, obviously, but it's funny because it is going to overshadow. I mentioned that I thought that I don't think that Fournette's as good of a play, but you're going to get much lower ownership now. And Damian Harris, DeAndre Swift, I think these guys are going to be a little bit lower owned than most people think because of these situations. I personally want to also take, some shots with Austin Eckler and Nick Chubb in the game I'm going to actually in a little bit today. I like both of those.
Oh yeah, have fun with that. Should be a good game.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and we've had a lot of stuff going on. We had the Dodgers playoffs going. We had Dave Chappelle on Thursday, and then we went to the Dodger, the wild card game, and then we got the football game today. It's been a fun time. How about as far as spending down at wide receiver before we get into all the actual plays? I think there's a couple guys who are pretty viable. I still think there's an outside chance for one of the Tennessee guys, but I sort of came off of that take earlier because I was just assuming that if in case AJ Brown was out as well as Jones. But I think that there's, with Samuel and I think there's an argument for KJ Osborne in that game, especially if you're stacking it up. But where are you guys standing with value? I'll start with you, Rody, and then jump over to Sheets. Where are you standing with value receivers, and then who are the guys who you maybe a little bit heavier on in the mid-range or higher tier?
I'm getting a little bit of Samuel. I really like that. Obviously he's a 3K. That's pretty cheap. That Kadarius Toney's getting a little bit of work last week.
Yep.
I like him to be a little different, maybe like a Zeke Toney secondary correlation guys.
I think Toney's going to be really popular, but I like.
Yeah, he's probably going to be. Yeah, he's going to be popular in that game. But if you can get different elsewhere. I just think for 4K, he's a guy that you can play.
Mm-hmm.
Another couple of cheaper guys that are lower that I don't think people are like. Brandon Cooks is getting a lot of volume, and Jacoby Myers right around that 6K range you could go to. They're projecting pretty decent actually. I think they're going to be chalky a little bit, obviously, right? Yeah, pretty chalky, but
I feel like it's funny with receiver this week because I feel like you mentioned we get in the 5K range. I'm like, okay, one of the Cincinnati guys. I get in the 6K range and I'm like Cooper or Lamb or Keenan Allen. You know what I mean? I have my teams basically taking up those ranges for me. Sheets, where do you stand on that? And what are you doing at a wide receiver?
Yeah, currently I have about 15% of the Giants guy, of the Kadarius Toney. I didn't get to the KJ Osborne, but I'm also getting right now to a decent amount of the Curtis Samuel. It just makes too much sense. His first game back last week. You would have to imagine he gets a little more run this week. Where possible, and so I do like that. It couldn't hurt to have a little Q tag next to him. Maybe keeps his ownership just below a little bit, but I don't know. A couple of kind of here's a guy that I have 5% of this guy, which is just to throw it out there. I have 5% of Tim Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
You're mentioning going cheap, right? So Tim Patrick is a guy. I have a sprinkle of Cobb again. I have a sprinkle of Waddle. Something I heard that was actually really interesting about this Tampa Bay Miami game. Apparently, Miami is actually one of the faster paced teams this year. I don't know how that's measured or whatever. It doesn't seem to fit the eye test for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I heard somewhere, and so maybe this Tampa, even the pass catchers from there, may be more viable than maybe I originally had thought.
Yeah, I think that I kind of agree. First of all, I like Albert Wilson. I think I'm actually siding with him over Samuel a little bit.
Oh, nice.
I was going the other way with Samuel to start with. I think I'm getting on to Albert Wilson, which we just got a question about. I think that he's, if we're going to talk about minimum cost guys who actually have potential to do some damage, and we've seen Tampa Bay get lit up through the air. I just think that with Samuel, they're going to get him involved. He's probably the safer bet. I think Wilson at lower ownership is just an interesting play to me. But what are your thoughts on that, Rody? Any of that for you? Either Wilson or Samuel?
Oh, the Miami? Yeah. Not dipping that low.
You're not going that low. So you'd stick with the Toney, would probably be your lowest guy. I'm going to say another name who I've got 50% of right now, which sounds like a crazy number, but I have Laviska Shenault at 51% right now. I like this guy. I like that game. I've talked about this a number of times. I think that you want to start trying to get ahead of it on the Jacksonville side of things. I do have a little bit of Lawrence, but mostly it's just Shenault. I do have some Marvin Jones, but mostly it's Shenault. A ton of Shenault for me to run back on the other side of my secondary stacks with Derrick Henry. Are you guys getting any of that, or did you find any of it at all in any of your builds, starting with your sheets?
Now, yeah, I mean, I don't have that much, but he's definitely viable. And the good thing is we're being take thematic, meaning that you were talking about Jacksonville early in the week, and you haven't really have any reason to come off of it. So it seems as though Shenault would be the guy. I mean, he was the king of the targets last week against Cincinnati. I'm not even looking at the number. I'm not even looking it up. I'm just remember from eye testing that's what he was looking at. And with Shark remaining out, again, I am not the believer. I'm still on the Marvin Jones fade position anyway.
Yeah, but it's not really a fade though, because no one's playing him, right?
No. I don't mean fading from an ownership. I just mean that I just felt as though that he's just really not going to be that big of a part of the deal, despite the fact that he was right in the first game or so. So with that said, I think that Shenault is definitely the dude. So yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, it just seems like a game that people are into, but they're not into the same exact parts I am. I'm always the James Robinson guy. I love James Robinson, but I think that the whole passing game on that side, I just think there's a lot of activity going to be happening in that game. Where are you guys standing with what I said about? I mean, I understand that the Cowboys are going to be popular. Okay, I still am not going to take. I have 56% CeeDee Lamb, 22% Amari Cooper, 30% Evan Ingram. That's a little bit of the chalk that I'm eating, along with my Devontae Adams chalk that I'm eating, to mix in with all these other weird plays. Where do you guys stand with the Cowboys game? And then let me just straight up ask you, if you had to pick one of two, I'll start with you, Rody. I mean, if you think about the ownership and everything, are we maybe making a mistake not playing Keenan Allen over both those Cowboy receivers? Because I am going to play some Keenan Allen, but I think I might want even more of them. So what are your thoughts on the Cowboy receivers, and then talk about Adams and Keenan Allen?
I really like CeeDee Lamb a little bit more than Amari Cooper. I know you guys are hating on the Chargers game, but I'm still on that game.
No, I'm in that game. I'm on in that game.
I have Keenan Allen. I like Mike Williams a little bit too. I'm not getting much of him, but man, Allen, I really like Keenan Allen. I really like Eckler today on that game.
Same.
I like your Jags game you talked about. I actually got quite a bit of Jags. Those cheap receivers, Shenault and Jones. I like James Robinson. So I'm getting different in a lot of those spots in those games you just were talking about. Probably a little bit lower on the Cowboys game in general. So I'm going to tend to be lower on those receivers that you're asking about. So.
Yeah, I get it. From a game theory perspective, certainly makes sense. I do think if you're playing Dak, you want to play both receivers or a receiver and whether either tight end. I don't even want to say it anymore because I think Schultz is actually kind of a shady play in general. But if you're gonna play Dak, I would play him with two pass catchers because he's good. When he fires around, he fires it to everyone. You know what I mean? He'll throw the ball 45 times if the script breaks. Sheets, what are your thoughts? Everything sort of we just covered with the Cowboys, and then over to Adams and Keenan Allen.
Yeah, so I like that game, and I actually. I like Schultz. I like Lamb. I like Cooper. I like those Giants guys. I like Ingram. I like Barkley. By the way, if you play on Yahoo, he's kind of criminally underpriced over there. And I think that's a really strong game. But you mentioned the Chargers a couple of times, Rody, and I will tell you that I'm playing I'm playing like the late slate too. And in my bigger buy, actually, I'm all over that game, starting with actually the Cleveland side. Like I'm going to be playing. I'm stacking that game. I'm going to be playing Mayfield with Odell, and I'm going to play Chubb. I'll play Eckler. I'll play Allen. I'll fade the Dallas game on that slate, just for fun. I'm not going to fade the game, but I'm going to fade the full stack over there.
No, it makes sense.
And so yeah, I like that Charger game a lot actually. And Mike Williams is he's not been the greatest, right? But yeah, I guess I haven't really
not the last game, but the last few he's one of the top fantasy guys. So
yeah, his first 3 games were out of this world. The last game he did nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that Charger game.
Yeah, I like it too. And again, I'm going to be at the game, so obviously, the rule, you have to stack it if you're going to be there. I think Nick Chubb is the guy who I think could actually go off here. I think with the way the corner's set up, like, it doesn't worry me for Keenan Allen because he'll line up in the slot. But I think the way the corner's set up actually lend itself to, well, Keenan Allen. But I think Eckler and Chubb both are phenomenal plays, and they're going to have very, very minimal ownership because it's hard to get it, especially if you play them together, which I'm doing in a number of spots. And then you get the pass catching work also out of Eckler. So even if Chubb is, they're up by 2 touchdowns and Chubb is pounding the ball, then you're going to also get on the other end, you're going to get Austin Eckler, who might catch the ball, 10 times, which we haven't seen as much this year, but we know that he's got it in him. So I'm a big fan of that as well. Let's talk about tight ends because we're getting some questions about like Ricky Seals-Jones. So my take is I have some Ricky Seals-Jones. I have some places I want to spend down. I don't mind Ricky Seals-Jones. I don't mind the San Francisco Ross Dwelly in my Arizona game stacks to just to punt the position a little bit. I still think Ingram is the better spend down in general. Like, he's going to average out the most, but he's going to be popular. Where do you guys stand with tight ends? Because I feel like this is an interesting – we don't have any Kelsey and we have no George Kittle, which was going to be my other one. We do have Darren Waller, but it's not the ideal situation. He's expensive, and we like some of the expensive wide receivers. Brody, well, I want to start with you, and then we'll jump over to Sheets. But talk about some tight end plays for you this week.
Yeah, I like that Dwelly call you just said. I'm getting a lot of him. Actually getting a lot more of him on FanDuel for some reason. I really like Mike Gesicki on that Dolphins team, guys. I really like that. And I'm getting a lot of my tight ends in the stacks that I'm building. So, like if I'm doing a Herbert stack, maybe I got some Cook. I'm doing Kirk Cousins stack. I got some Conklin. I got some Arnold and Trevor Lawrence stack. Paired with one of the 2 receivers I like. I'm getting a little bit of Zach Ertz too. I like. He's been doing well with the Hurts, combination, and obviously Evan Ingram's going to be pretty popular in that Giants game. So
yeah,
kind of that's where I'm going.
How about you, Sheets? And then
I'll throw one more in kind of thematically, and then I'll throw in one that could win the million. So thematically, we like that Cincinnati Green Bay game. That Tanyan is going to make a lot of sense within those game stacks. They really do look for him down the seam like quite a bit. So that makes sense. And dude, I'll tell you, if that game blows up, if somebody wins $1 million with CJ Azuma, it's going to be me. I'm telling you, he was running freaking wildfire in that Thursday night game, and I am definitely going to force in like a 5-ball of him. I mean, just in case. I
love it for sure.
That's the beautiful thing about the Millie Maker thing is no one can ever tell you it's a bad play.
No, exactly. You're right. There's no such thing as a bad play. I totally 100% agree with that take.
Except Geno Smith.
Even if it works, it's still a bad play. Yeah. Actually, you know what though? Next time he starts, I probably will play some Geno Smith. We got some interesting questions I think that are popping up. Like, so the Preston Williams or Albert Wilson conversation for the punts. I would take Albert Wilson personally. You guys have a specific take on that? I know, Rody, you don't want to go down that far, but if you had to pick between the two, who are you taking?
What's the other one? Wilson and who?
It's Preston Williams.
Preston Williams. Yeah. Ooh. I like it. Probably Albert.
Yeah. How about you, Sheets, on that one? And then
do you have one? I don't want to do any of that. Who's Albert Williams and Preston Williams? I don't even know who they are. Who are they? The Dolphins?
I love that.
The Dolphins.
Albert Williams.
I like the other guy. I like is Duriel Harris? Does he still play? Who else in Miami? I have that guy, right? That 5% guy, the Waddle. Yeah, that's who my guy is.
Yeah, you might get some more ownership now, though.
Okay, I got 5%.
I like what I said. Waddle in the chat. I said Gesicki. Those are the guys. I'm gonna have some Brissett stacks, guys, and then try to figure out a run back because the Bucks players are. What game am I talking about? Am I on the right game? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. You jumped on them.
Yeah, Bucks pass catchers. Yeah.
Okay.
Miami and Bucks pass catchers. Because you don't know Evans, Godwin, and Brown. I really like Antonio Brown on DK. So
I love Antonio Brown today, and I need to force him into a few more builds. That's one thing I've got to do when we get off. I do think there's a couple interesting ones, and one of them pertains a little bit to Rody's team. So I'm going to ask it because I asked it the same question when we did our picks thing. Why aren't we taking some shots with Randall Cobb?
I mentioned
It'd be
him.
one thing to chase if no one was going to do it, if everyone's going to do it, but if no one's going to do it, and we're all going to chase the Giants. What's his name, Darius Tony or whatever. Why aren't we playing a little bit of Randall Cobb if we're stacking the game? No, Brody, not for you.
I just like a single stack in that. I'm big on Adams, guys. I even kind of like Lazard and Cobb. I just feel like I just don't want to take the chance on it. But I mean, I do like to play. If you and the Millie Maker guys, if you want to get different, those are great plays. I think Cobb could have another big game and win someone some money. So,
Sheets, how about you? Have you come across any Cobb in your stacks?
Yeah, I got like 5% of him.
Okay. I was interesting, and then also to answer Zach's question about Madison on Osimo, they're saying he's the best play at running back. I think point per dollar, everyone will show up as Madison being the best play. Right? I don't think there's any question that this guy is going to be owned by everyone, and there's nothing wrong with it. Everything makes perfect sense.
I mean, let me ask you just a dumb question. Like, are you forget what? Let's say you didn't pull up projections or whatever. Let's just say you did Madison was starting the whole week, okay, but he's still 5,300 or whatever. I mean, are you sure that he's like a better play than either Fournette or the the Bears guy?
Yeah, significantly better.
Okay,
that's my answer.
Okay.
Does it work every time? Sure, maybe it doesn't. The guy actually gets the workload when you don't have him. He had 26 carries the last time this happened, 112 yards rushing, but he had 26 carries and 6 receptions. He had 30.
Well, dude, and what's his name? And Mr. Ristorodi was very close the last time this happened, right?
Yeah, that's right. But Rody, are we just overthinking it by almost not like I don't want to lock him in, but no, of course, there's variance in all the things. You have the worst run defense in football against a team that's going to use one running back for almost entirely. It's not like they have other guys they're going to just give the ball to. He's going to get 20-plus touches, maybe 30-plus touches. Are we just crazy for not playing him? Like, we must be crazy, right? Not to play him?
Well, I'll play him.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to play him. It's just crazy. You know, I built a lot of my single entry stuff already, which is quite a bit. So now I got to figure out how to get him in a little bit more. So I think you got to play him. I like to play. I just feel like some of the receivers though too. I really like Jefferson. I think you can switch to that side of it too. You know, I don't know. Madison's gonna be a good play though.
Yeah. Let's talk about the least interesting thing to talk about in DFS. That is defenses. What are we doing to spend down on DraftKings, and then who are we playing on FanDuel? I'll start with you, Rody, then we'll jump over to Sheets.
I'm getting a lot of Eagles defense, even the Jags. I mean, Tennessee's been not great. I know Derrick Henry's probably going to run off them all over them, but I don't know. I like the Eagles defense, I think, the most at 2,200. Washington defense at 2,300. Those are where I'm going to go. So Vikings, you can spend up and get $3K for the Vikings. Not really a spend up, but like I think Madison Vikings stack correlation is pretty good.
Yeah,
this is. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Just.
My advice to you, Rody, is I just did if you care, I just did a look-see at some ownerships. I wouldn't play the Redskins at 15% ownership. I mean, I know what it gets you, whatever it is, but there's just literally no, in my opinion, there's like no position that's just more just terrible chalk than paying down at defense. Especially look in your bigger buy-ins. Cool, you know what I mean? Like, do whatever you got to do, you know.
Yeah.
But I think in the Millie Makers and stuff, I just think it's terrible. I mean, I really do. I think that I would set like a max ownership of, I don't know, of something on those defenses. They're just someone's going to get there, you know, somebody, and you just want to be on that low owned thing. I'll tell you the two teams that I like as far as and I don't know if either of these can be particularly earth shattering, but one of them is going to be the Raiders against the rookie quarterback.
Totally agree.
Against Justin Fields, and the other one, I mean, look, you know, what you want in a defense is you want the opportunity to get strip sacks. You want to get interceptions, and the way to do that is to get it in a high-paced game with a lot of plays. And I'll go for Arizona in this spot. They're going to be edge freaking blitzing this Lance guy the whole freaking day. and there's going to be a zillion plays for him to screw up. And I think that Arizona is probably a good play.
Yeah, and by the way, the flip side of that is that also makes it a good stack for taking San Francisco.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to just put him out on the edge. Like he's going to be able to just run a little bit wild. Like it's like when people you have a blitz heavy team and they're running, against Kyler Murray. You just love that situation. This is an interesting question: Cousins, Madison, Thielen, or Cousins, Thielen, Jefferson. I think the answer is Cousins, Thielen, Jefferson, although they don't tend to go off the same weeks, because if you're going to play the passing game, I would try and stick to that. And Madison, while he does catch the ball, it's not like that was sort of more script related. I feel like that he had 6 receptions. It's going to do more of his work on the ground. That's the way I would go. But how do you guys feel about that, Rody? And then she's
sorry, say that. Which player?
Cousins, Madison, Thielen, or Cousins, Thielen, Jefferson?
So you mean Thielen versus Jefferson?
No, it's Thielen versus Madison, really.
Yeah, Thielen versus Madison.
I guess, and sort of.
Yeah,
Thielen.
I think that Jefferson, Madison stat got there last time because he's a little bit cheaper, obviously, than Thielen. So I mean, I don't mind that little pairing, Madison and Jefferson.
How about Sheets? What about you on that one? Cousins, Madison, Thielen, or Cousins, Thielen, Jefferson?
I like I'm a little pure. I'd rather have the 2 receivers.
It's the same for me. But in general, they tend to not blow up the same weeks, but they also tend to always have a good week. So it's like you're not losing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm fine with Thielen, but I just prefer Jefferson he's just a better player. I think Thielen's awesome. Okay, but like Jefferson is just a legit top 5 receiver. Maybe not that high. Top 10, certainly top 7 receiver in the NFL. It could be top 5. It just depends on who you're talking to and what day it is. But again, those are mostly in stacks for me. I do think KJ Osborne is talented enough to where I would, if I'm in my Minnesota stacks where I'm trying to spend down, I'm gonna end up rolling with KJ Osborne. Personally, that's just my personal preference. I think that he's the guy gets work. For some reason, people think it's like too cute of a play to try and take him. This guy, he's averaging 6.5 targets per game. He's had, a 15-point fantasy point game, a 20-point fantasy point game. He's 3,800. So I actually really like him in those stacks, and it is Detroit, so you can expect him to potentially go wild. All right, guys, before we end up, getting out or anything, we've made some, pretty, like stuck with the games we're talking about. But is there any other takes that we maybe haven't touched on that we should touch on? Anything else you got? Starting with Rody.
I just want to, while everyone's here, I just want to do my giveaway, but that's about it. And whenever,
tell me about that.
Let's do it. Talk about it.
No, I just did a quick retweet of a video that I made. It was everyone wanted a video, how to build lineups better type using the optimizer, using projections. So I just made a video, and I just want to throw out a video for everyone supporting today on the live stream. That way we can just showcase it, and we got a pretty good stream going. So I want to hype it up a little bit, So it's on my Twitter if you guys want in. So
love it.
Check it out. Check the video out.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Check out Rody's stuff, you guys. This guy is awesome, and he's been helpful to everybody in our Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord, please join our Discord because it is still free, and it pops off. It'll be a pretty active day, I'm guessing, in the Discord world for the true DFSers. All right, Sheets, how about you? Any other takes that we maybe didn't touch on that you think should be mentioned?
You want to talk a little narrative? You want to talk about that the Urban Meyer thing, if that has any meaning to you? Or actually, you like that game anyway, right?
Yeah, and I think that anyone who thinks Urban Meyer's on the verge of getting fired is wrong. That's my take.
Does anybody think that that John Gruden's on the verge of getting fired?
I think it would take a lot of losses, and honestly, I want to withhold because honestly, making bad or slightly racist comments is one thing. Like, it's not like this man was going out there trying to rip a race apart or something. He just made a weird statement, and he makes a lot of weird statements. Anyway, whatever. I don't think that he's at risk of getting fired right now. Personally, things could get worse, as we've seen this happen. But I hope it doesn't happen because I actually like what they're doing in Vegas right now. Okay, so here's a question from Zach. Tom Brady. I have zero interest in Brady, but I get it. Like he for whatever reason always lights up this Dolphins team from going back when he was in New England. I love Antonio Brown in that game, but I'm not playing any Brady. Are either of you guys getting to any Brady?
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
He's
I
in-
wasn't. I'm not. I don't. I'm not. I don't think I'm going to be getting to him.
Okay, fair enough.
Hang on, I just wanted to. I just wanted to do something real quick while I have you guys here, because I did get some most of my projections updated while we were doing this with the Madison thing. And I just want to just see real quick before we get out of here. I mean, like what?
Yeah, it's going to be. He's going to show up.
I imagine it's going to pop up, right? Hold on.
He'll be the best. He'll look like the best player on the slate, 100%.
You think so? Yeah, probably.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't. I'm not saying he is the best player. I'm just saying that's what the numbers should show.
Yeah, hold on, just see.
Yeah, it's insane projection on FanDuel.
It's kind of nuts. Like that's.
Yes, that is correct.
Did we get word on Hawkinson? He's in, I think, right? Probable.
Is that right?
Yeah, Hawkinson's in. So is Swift and all that stuff. All my Q tags are basically disappearing. The only one I've still got is Amari Cooper, but I'm not worried about him playing or not. He's just going to play somewhat beaten up, in my opinion. I'd be really shocked if Amari doesn't play.
He is showing up. Madison is, I mean, as you had mentioned earlier, like as an uber smash play, they're pretty much everywhere. So
yeah,
take that for what it's worth. I mean,
yeah, he's going to be in my big buy-ins, that's for sure. All right, let me ask you guys another question. Okay, let's play a little game here. Which Cincinnati receiver would you pick? Starting with you, Sheets, and then we'll go to Rody. Because all three of them are very viable to me.
Yeah, Boyd, I guess.
Yeah, I like Boyd, but I think one of my favorite explosive guys I like is Chase. I mean, I think he looks really good, but I mean, Boyd would be the guy if you're gonna get some more leverage, I think, on that play.
Well, it's perfect because I love Boyd in general, but I'm gonna say T. Higgins, so we all can be different on that one.
Well, obviously, you're giving out, you're leaving out the obvious one, of course. The CJ Uzomah. So.
Oh yeah, of course of course it's CJ Uzomah.
I mean, I figured that would be the
lock. The lock.
Like the question is, who are you pairing with Uzomah? Is what you're basically asking. Okay, I was just checking.
Yeah. All right. So, is anybody else playing any Tennessee Titans cheap receiver?
Not cheap one, no.
Just so you like AJ Brown a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, I can get behind it. I just am curious. Sheets, how about you? Any cheap receivers from them? I still think that they're interesting. I just don't know. It's hard to know who to pick. I think I would pick Josh Reynolds would be my natural way to go, but it's tough to know who to pick.
For which team? For Tennessee?
Yeah.
Well, I think it is worth exploring a little bit, because it is it's like a natural pivot off of Henry. So yeah, I didn't quite get to now, but interestingly, is Ferkser still in play?
He's in play, sure.
Because you had mentioned some tight ends or whatever, and I did get to a little bit of Ferkser. Just so you guys know.
It actually makes a lot of sense. I actually didn't get to him this week, but I kind of am wondering why I'm not. Like, you have a team that believes that they'll let you throw over the middle. Did have 5 targets last week, including one in the end zone that he didn't catch. But I think that Ferkser is kind of interesting too. We talked about a lot of cheap tight ends, so why wouldn't we take a shot with Ferkser? I'm getting on board with that for sure.
So just so you guys know, and I'm gonna post this in the Discord as well. But I am gonna put that last update with Madison up there in there now, and there you go. All right, so I'll put on here. I'm gonna post in the Discord that Sheets posted, updated for Madison.
By the way, I like the game that I'm going to, but I want to just mention, I didn't mention this for defense before. I like both defenses a little bit in that game for Cleveland, but I especially like the Chargers defense. I mean, we've seen Baker look just absolutely god-awful plenty of the time, so I would take that shot. And I think that they have the kind of defense that could actually put up a number here, so they're another cheap defense that I like a little bit. All right, what else have on anybody else with any questions out there? Do we all play heavy on Yahoo? I don't play heavy on Yahoo.
I do. I play 20 lineups a day 20 lineups a week on Yahoo.
So any Yahoo take sheets?
Yeah, Barkley's particularly cheap on Yahoo.
Barkley is particularly cheap on Yahoo. There's somebody else who's like nearly minimum cost that seemed egregious.
But here, as a matter of fact, let me some fun. Hold on, just give me a second. Since you asked, I'm gonna do my new Yahoo run right now with the Madison and see, because I have to do it anyway. And let me see what I got, and then I will tell everybody what I have. With 1 second. Now you guys don't do much of this, but you guys any takes on the late slate or anything like that, particularly, or not really?
Yeah, I'll jump into that in 1 second. I'd love to answer a couple quick questions if you don't mind. If we jump to that real quick, just they asked us Keenan Allen or Mike Williams with the Herbert stack. I would take Keenan Allen personally, especially with these corners. How about you, Rhodey and Sheets? I know you guys both I like Mike Williams in general. I personally prefer Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I think you need the savings a little bit. I like his little savings that Keenan gets you over Mike Williams. It's not much, but it's enough. So
yeah, it's hard to know what guys as good as Herbert's going to fire the ball downfield, and he's going to find Keenan Allen no matter what, probably 7 to 10 times, or he's going to at least target him 7 to 11 times, maybe with an upside of 20. I think Mike Williams is more of a home run play, but he'll look for him too. I mean, he can fire the ball. So, Sheets, how about you on that one?
Which guy?
Keenan Allen.
I like Keenan. I mean, I'm just a wimp. You know, I just like the targets. I like the PPR. You know what I mean? I don't mind the A dot. It's fine. I like I like it.
All right. I like what Ken Jones says here. I mean, this is a great millionaire maker type of thing. He's not a Steelers fan, but off the wall stack being the Steelers. I actually think there's some merit to that because of how many times he's probably going to throw the ball. But I actually don't think – I think you could actually – any week you could play 1 or 2 Steelers receivers and have no Ben Roethlisberger on PPR sites, because I think there is a chance. There's a path where he's going to throw 50 – he's going to throw 50 times a couple times this year. And this could be one of those games. Any interest in the Steelers stack as like an off-the-wall stack for you, Rhodey, and then jump over to Sheets?
I got no Steelers this week. I was kind of on a couple of the guys last week, but I'm off them this week. I like Najee. Again, a little bit of him. But
How about you, Sheets? Any Steelers?
I'll put it this way: that's the second time I've heard that recommended by some sharp freaking people. So I'm gonna give that a look, actually.
Yeah, I think it's a good off the wall. I really do, especially I just think playing 2 of the receivers is interesting enough, or play Najee and a receiver. We had another one. From Project Mayhem, our guy. What's up, buddy? The 49ers Cardinals game going to shoot out any Trey Lance love. I like Trey Lance. Look, as the most popular quarterback on the slate, I'm not that interested in that in general, but I'm siding more with the Kyler Murray side of it. But I definitely can get behind some Trey Lance. And I do have a one of my decent sized buy-ins with Trey Lance, a Trey Lance stack. How about you guys?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think hey, play. You know, if ever people play Samuel with him, I'll play Brandon Ayuk with him. How about you?
I like Brandon Ayuk.
Let's go. I know he's gonna win a slate for us one of these days. You know what I mean? And last time, every time we keep repeating names on these shows, we end up it sounds like Rhodey will do it. He'll say the same name like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, I probably should get more of that guy. And that guy goes off. And Rhodey almost wins $1 million. Last week we talked all about Cordarrelle Patterson, and Sheets almost wins $1 million because of Cordarrelle Patterson. So maybe Brandon Ayuk might be that guy today. Everybody's obsessed with this DJ Moore thing. It's weird because everyone's talking about it, but are people actually playing it? Because I don't have them projected to be that highly owned. Am I missing something?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm literally forcing him out. I mean, like I have like 100% of him in some of my builds.
I mean, he's like
15. 30%. He must be just projecting to the roof. I don't know.
He is, but like it's weird. Like I don't like teams that people when they try to. I don't like when people try to target. Like he's been amazing. I think DJ Moore is awesome. I'm the biggest DJ Moore guy, but like if we're gonna talk about him versus Hopkins or Devontae Adams or all these guys, like I think people thinking Philadelphia's defense is bad. Like they just played against the Cowboys and the Chiefs, who are probably 2 of the best 3 offenses in football. Like don't use their numbers to be the reason you play DJ Moore. Use Carolina and what they're doing offensively as the reason you play DJ Moore. Don't use Philadelphia's defensive numbers. They're completely misleading, completely inaccurate. I actually like the Philadelphia defense a little bit today. I never like to buy into. Oh, people are like, oh, look at this, they give up the most passing yards and all this. I'm like, yeah, they just played the Chiefs. It's going to happen when you played 4 games and one of them's going to the Chiefs and one of them's going to
That is true.
You know what I mean? Like can't look at that stuff. I don't know. Rody, any takes on DJ Moore? Like, are you going to be over the field, with the field, below the field?
Below the field, I got Robbie Anderson in some of my buy-ins with my Hurts stack, and I like the Eagles defense. So,
attaboy, I like it.
Before I forget, I mean, I don't know if we're going to talk about the later site, but before I forget, don't go on to this. Just as homage to Mr. Rody, big freaking game tonight. Just an awesome football game. Buffalo, Kansas City.
I have a strong take on this one.
In my big buy-in, I do have Byron Pringle, so I just thought I'd let you know that.
I love it, and I want to say that personally, I think the Chiefs are a lock. I think they are a lock to win that game and cover. I don't think that I think there's too much hype. I think it's nonsense. We saw the same thing last year in the playoffs. This is a spot where I expect the Chiefs to hammer down big time and win the game by double digits. Personally,
I have another funny business play in that game. Is Gabe Davis?
Yeah, I can get behind that. How about you, Rody? Any maybe late slate, showdown slate type things? And what do you think about the Chiefs and Bills?
Well, you guys give all the ones away, man. You talk about Pringle, you talk about Gabe Davis. That's going to be a tough game there.
What about Isaiah McKenzie then?
Reaching. I haven't got to showdown yet. I'm gonna
reaching, dude. We're freaking have 12 people in the player pool. I mean, like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I know. Showdowns are tough. So, yeah.
I really like that game. I honestly I really, really, really like the Chiefs.
It's gonna be a good game.
What my strongest take of the week is
wow
that game. I'm not a big fan of these I think the Bills are really good and all these things, but like I thought it was complete nonsense last year when people trying to make them the same. I think it's completely ridiculous that they're basically saying the Bills are a better team with the point spread. That's absolutely crazy. I mean, that means if the Bills are at home, they're a 3-point favorite. 3 points is what you get basically. If you're an even team, you get 3 points at home, and they're getting 2.5. That's absolutely absurd to me for the Chiefs. I know they didn't cover for the first time in a year or whatever, but I will take the Chiefs all day long.
What's the spread?
2.5.
What's it at Buffalo?
No, it's in KC. Right?
Interesting.
Are you with me on this? Come on, I want to get a little verbal confirmation.
Well, you know what I'm going to say. I mean, Jesus Christ.
What are you going to say?
Kansas City at home, giving only 2.5. Buffalo's got to be a lock.
Get out of here! You're so ridiculous, this guy. It always. You just cursed my one big bet of the day that's separate from DFS.
Cursed anything.
You did. You cursed every time you say it. I know, but I'm not going to change my opinion. The problem is you always end up being right in these situations, and it frustrates me. By the way, you mentioned before about the Washington defense being a suspect. I think that the Texans are a completely viable pivot. I know it doesn't look good, it sound good, and you do have a rookie quarterback back there against them. So I personally, that's what I'm doing. Just wanted to throw that out there. All right. Any other questions before we get out of here? Any other thoughts, guys? Sheets, wait, you asked about the afternoon slate before. What was your what were your takes? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I just want to update a couple of things after redoing runs on FanDuel and other places. So first of all, on FanDuel, only to address a question that someone asked earlier, I actually am now going to have 30% of AJ Brown on FanDuel.
AJ Brown, I love it. By the way, I love the Rody's call about Robbie Anderson, but I especially love it on FanDuel. First of all, he's a better FanDuel player anyway, but he's 5,600 over there. I think you want to get in on some of that, right? That's just a crazy price. And if there's someone who's going to light it up, like, I mean, as much as I just said all these things about Philly, don't buy into. I'll take a low-owned Robbie Anderson 5,600 on FanDuel, which is just kind of a joke of a price. I mean, he's priced. I like that. Actually, that whole game is like underpriced. Miles Sanders is my sneaky, like not even sneaky on FanDuel. He's 5,900. I know he's been terrible. I don't care. I'm just willing to throw it away. Any running back at 5,900 should be in play. I think on FanDuel actually the build is lending me to like a 3 running back, which I haven't been as big of a fan on DraftKings this year, but I think it is more viable on any FanDuel takes for you, Rody, that maybe are a little different than DraftKings.
Not really. Just getting to fine tuning the builds and Madison things throw me off a little bit, but I do like Miles Sanders. I have him. I like that play.
How about you, Sheets? So. Any FanDuel takes?
Yeah, like I just said, AJ Brown, I have like a full 30% of him. It's the same thing though. I was getting a whole bunch of those same dudes, and I have to force them down. I guess it's the way I'm putting my settings or whatever it is. But let me just gaze real quickly. Yeah, Tanyan is, I guess, the guy that I'm pretty overweight on. You had mentioned, by the way, someone mentioned Brandon Cooks.
That was Rhodey, I think.
Yeah, I'm getting probably too much of him.
I get a lot of him.
Given what New England likes to do, that seems like a really fishy freaking bit of chalk, but I'm getting them. I think so.
Is he? Where am I looking at? I'm looking at my ownerships here.
FanDuel? No.
Yeah, he seems to be pretty chalky.
Oh, on FanDuel, I didn't have him on. I'm sorry. I was thinking I was looking on DraftKings, and
that feels really wrong. But I'm probably doing it anyway.
Interesting question though. What about John Ross III? Again, for another cheap receiver. I know.
What team is he on?
What's that?
What team is he on now?
John Ross is on the Giants, but he's instead of Tony. I think that's kind of interesting. I think that it's a millionaire maker kind of a play. It's not something I'm going to put in my high buy-ins. That's pretty much where I stand on that. How about you guys?
I'm not getting down there.
Which guy? Sorry, I missed that.
John Ross as a millionaire maker. What? Yeah,
all right, guys, I got a jet. I want to do this giveaway real quick. Here's all the entries. Not many, so let's see who it is.
Do it.
Let's see it.
All right, I got one. D Hops, my man. He's on Twitter. I don't specifically know him, but I think he's an RG guy. A subscriber. I don't think he subscribes to us or anything, but he's probably not in the video. But yeah, he's a big guy that messages me a lot, looking for info. So, congrats, man. I'll get that over.
What did he win?
$100.
Awesome. Wait, $100 cash?
Yeah, $100 cash, brother.
Oh, that's no fun. You got to put him in 5 Millie Maker lineups or something.
I wish I knew how to do that. We need to figure out how to do that. Give away all these lineups and stuff.
No. Send him $100, but tell him he's got to put it in the line. You know what I mean? Whatever.
I'll let him know that she said that you got to put it in the Millie Maker.
Yeah, really. $100 cash? What the hell is that?
5 lineups in the Millie. That's what.
Awesome. Well, hey, I know Rhodey's got to go, so Rhodey, take it easy. Hey, thanks so much, man. Congrats to D Hops, and by the way, maybe a little sign for DeAndre Hopkins, because that's what
there you go. I didn't even think about that.
There it is.
Man, let's go. I'm up at D Hops right now. D Hops.
There we go.
Right now.
And I love. Before we get out of here, I do love what DFS Wolfpack said. T-Law. I think if you're playing the Millionaire Maker, you should have a bunch of Trevor Lawrence stacks in there, in my opinion. That's the perfect tournament. This guy's going to go off at some point. This feels like a good spot.
So this is what I want. Someone's got to answer in the chat, because I need a number between 6 and 9. If anybody can post a number.
Post the number, guys.
And 9.
All right, we still don't have. It's going to take probably 10 more seconds, and then we'll probably get a response.
Then I'll have to have you say it. Then they'll have to have you say it, Bobby.
What's that mean? 7.
I can't tell you what it means yet. That's what's randomized.
7. There it is. 8.
7. Okay. So that's how 7. That's how much percent of CJ Azoma I'm going to have.
There you go. Okay.
There it is.
All right. Good luck to everybody out there. We appreciate y'all. Thanks to Rhodey. I know he had to bail, but let's make some money today, guys, and we'll be in the Discord all day. I'm going to be at the game. So, Sheets, have a fun day, and good luck to everybody.
All right. Talk to you later.